Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in for another exciting game of Blood Bowl. Tonight we're playing over in the Get Medieval League, specifically in the Upstarts division, and I can tell you for sure which team I'm playing. Can't quite say for absolute certain what the opponent is doing. I've been told, but I'll see it when I believe it. So, we have my team displayed here, Sigmar Skirmishers. Relatively fresh team. We've played 4 games in our Upstarts Development League here, and we've mostly been working on our blitzers. My goal was to start out with 4 blitzers that all had Mighty Blow. Well, Mr. Hans Hoffenmeister has thrown a wrench into those plans because he keeps rolling things that are too good to pass up and keeps finding ways to get star player points where he has as many star player points as the 2 blitzers behind him put together, even without the Mighty Blow fueling his skill ups. Not going to complain. So on top of our 4 semi-developed blitzers, including Hans hot rolls for plus strength and a doubles for the diving tackle selection there, we have block on a thrower and tackle on a lineman. So in tonight's match, we are scheduled to play against the league commissioner, who is Jim. And Jim has single-handedly decreed that Norse suck. So it appears that he has dropped his Norse team, Viking Jim, from the league. Yet somehow they still show up as my opponent for the match. So we may have to resolve that in a moment here. But he was having a hard time of things, getting kicked around a little bit. So far, he managed to get plus strength on one of his Ulferin or something or other, I don't know. And then sure hands on a runner. But I think he was taking a few too many casualties for his liking on the low armor value across the board. So he is at least intending to replace that team with Lizardmen, which we weren't entirely sure that we could do in mid-season until Jim said, well, it needed to happen. So, if we do have the Lizardmen coming in, they are a brand new, fresh, unplayed team in which he has elected to take a Croxagore and 4 Saurus and brought along 6 Skinks into the party. Just personally, I feel like this is one of the better starting lineups for the Lizardmen, and I'm kind of on the fence about the presence of the Croxagore himself. I do like that there are far more Skinks than the Saurus. That was a hard realization for me because I've bounced off of Lizardmen a couple of times as I've tried to play them. And I always wanted to just overwhelm my opponent with that full line of Saurus and have the Croxagore right out of the gate to start getting skill ups on him. But when it comes down to it, with the Croxagore especially only having access to strength skills, there's not a whole lot you want there. Guard, maybe grab, maybe break tackle, but you're kind of stretching things there. Really, they're able to do 99% of what you want a Croxagore to do just by having guard. The Saurus, you want a little bit more development on. You want block, you want Mighty Blow, and guard, potentially. Anything else past that, it's bonus territory. Where the Lizardmen teams shine are the Skinks. These are the guys that you've got to just have swarming around all over the place. They use their speed as a weapon, and it's a very effective one. Now, some coaches want that big wall of Saurus and stack in all 6 and then try to fit the Croxagore as soon as they can. but that leaves them with a bare minimum of maybe 4 skinks on a team, and they might not even all be healthy on a given game. And with the AG1 across the board on anything other than the skinks themselves, it's been an easy target for me as a semi-bash-centric player to just go and take out all the skinks and then just say, okay, what are you going to do? You can't pick up the ball anymore. So that's been an easy path to victory for me. So I'm glad to see Jim taking the alternate approach and bringing 6 to the fight, because that's going to make it a lot harder to just completely deny him the ability to touch the ball at all. It doesn't hurt that we have both been in the Rebel Imperium League, and Jim has gotten a taste of lithium, literally. The Imperium League brings in past legendary players from other teams as draftable choices within that game, and he got lithium, if I'm not mistaken, in his first packs of cards, and as a result, he's seen the Lizardman potential for a one-turn touchdown. His first game in the league, I believe, was a 5-5 tie. It was just something absolutely ridiculous. And as a fan of the one-turn touchdown from Skaven, I think that stepping over to Skinks will really give Jim a chance to try something new while still having that fast scoring opportunity, and in fact, even a better one when it comes down to it, just because of the built-in stunty on the Skinks for another +1 to their dodge rolls, essentially canceling out the need for 2 heads on a doubles roll for a gutter runner. So I think he's just going to be cycling these guys out as fast as possible, just digging for a movement upgrade. So I'm honestly excited to see what Jim does with this team, but at the same time, a little bit wary of it because he's got the experience to be good at it. Anyway, so that's our rundown of the potential teams in tonight's match. We should be getting started here any second now, I believe. Technically, we're about 10 minutes overdue, but I'm not holding him to any kind of time frame, just as long as we're getting the game in tonight. We'll take a quick look at our leaderboard for the league here. Another Lizardman team, Slippy Skinks, is standing on top of the league with a 4-win and 1-draw record, and they are my 1 loss for Sigmar Skirmishers. We played in week 1, and just having no skills whatsoever on my team, I just couldn't put anything together. So this is a 7-round Upstarts League just for us to kind of try out some new teams and get a feel for them and potentially bring them into our new Dark Ages League that will be starting up in our next main season rotation. So the results here don't really matter in the long term, but we want to do well with these teams and skill them up and get them ready to join the big boy competition. But I will say that the team on top, Slippy Skinks, has been doing very well for themselves. Let's take a look at them real quick while we're killing a minute or two here. See how they've developed since I've last seen them. So it looks like they are now carrying a 12th player, probably having picked one up to deal with the fact that Dash here was temporarily missing. For those of you that aren't children of the Nintendo lineage, these characters appear to all be named after Star Fox characters, including the one and only Slippy Karksagor here. Slippy being the frog co-pilot for uh, Fox, the protagonist of the Star Fox series. And our coach here, Mech Gumby, has a bit of an affinity for frogs, as his mainline team in the Get Medieval League is a slan team all named after frogs. So, of course, he's got a loyalty to Slippy and wanting to make him much bigger and stronger than you would normally think of a frog being. Anyway, so looks like this little fellow took block on a doubles roll. Our other skinks are going sidestep first, going for that annoyance factor. And we're looking at block first on 3 of our Saurus here, and then dodge on this Saurus because, again, doubles. Don't want it that early, but you got to take it when you can get it. All right. So let's check in on the Discord side of operations. Looks like Jim is in the midst of a Steam update, at least for the past 5 minutes or so he should be joining us shortly, and we'll get things underway. Insert holding music here, a little bit of smooth jazz, some elevator music, occasionally interrupted by a monotone, please hold, your message is important to us, your call is important to us, what you have to say is important to us, please hold, and a representative will be with you shortly. Your hold time is indefinite number of minutes. Please continue to hold, and we'll be with you as soon as possible. All right. I think Jim's strategy here is to let me settle into a food coma as we are on day 2 out of 3 of the persistent chain of Thanksgiving feasts, each one so far being better than the last this year. Not that I'm bragging on the wife's cooking or anything, but it was a good meal today. So I guess I am bragging on it, maybe just a little bit. Taking one more peek, just making sure of what we are expecting. So the Dragon Hoard, if it did come to play today, did spend all of their cash. So against the slightly developed Skirmishers, 1240 TV, they're going to be carrying 2,400 in allocation money, which is not quite enough for a wizard and a reroll, but they can bring in 2 rerolls, 1 reroll and a pair of babes, or a pair of, wait, no, not a pair of, but 1 babe and a wizard. I don't expect that we would see any star players or bribes in this match, as it is an Upstarts League centered around team development and growth, and you want to make sure that you're not losing any star player points to your star players that you've induced in. So, kind of thinking personally, I would probably go for either the 2 rerolls if he went light during team construction, or a reroll in the 2 babes to keep his players on the pitch as much as possible. But, it's his decision, whatever he wants to do. The reason I kind of glanced at it to confirm is because this team is carrying 1 cheerleader and 1 coaching assistant that we can drop at any time if it does look like we're going to be giving up an extra inducement or so. If we don't, it was just didn't really have anywhere else I wanted to stick the money at that point. I'm sure at some point down the line we'll end up adding another player or 2 here, maybe a catcher, but I don't want to level those guys up too fast. Don't want to steal the touchdowns away from our stars of the team, which are definitely going to be our blitzers. All right, another round of that hold music to go. All right, just got a message from Jim saying that he finally got in, so I do see that our team swap has happened. We are now shown as playing against the Dragon Horde. So we should be ready to kick things off momentarily. Any day now, Jim. Any day now. Appears we've got some slight miscommunication going on here. Jim's not seeing the invite and is messaging me on Discord. I wasn't responding on Discord quickly enough. We'll get this kicked off momentarily, I'm sure. Right. There we go. Maybe, possibly, yes. So I am carrying enough cash for some inducements, but we will skip. Zero reason to buy them right now. So again, 240,000 in inducements. Most likely path is the two babes and the team training. I actually know from prior experience that Jim's not actually a fan of the wizard in general, and not a lot of reason to bring it to this match. Okay, I stand corrected. Apparently he has changed his feelings on the concept of wizards. It can be the most impactful of any of the inducements, so from that standpoint, I definitely see the point of taking the wizard. I don't know, I guess he expects to be able to pop somebody with it and get a free run at a touchdown, so that purchase might be a fast ticket to 3-star player points in his mind. Can't say that it isn't, but we'll just have to see what it actually ends up doing for him. One more look at the Lizardman lineup here. Again, we've got the Croxagore, 4 Saurus, and 6 Skinks. And then the Emperor's Finest. Decked out the most garish regalia I could find for them that wasn't pink. Because pink just screams I'm trying too hard to be garish. Look at those manly beards. Alright, let's go on offense first and see if we can't get one of these skinks off the field real fast. So I kind of feel like one of my goals might have to just be, let's get anything we can away from the Croxagore. Now this is a neat little naming scheme. I'm not gonna call anyone out too deeply, but I do remember being told something about being a little, I don't remember exactly what the phrase was, but something to the effect of it being a little arrogant of me, perhaps, or presumptuous of me, perhaps, to name one of my Wood Elf War Dancers after myself. And yet we have Jumbo Jim, the Croxagore, over here. I didn't even really look at that earlier. Kind of interesting that we still have the game invite pulsing over here, and clicking on it does nothing. Fine cyanide programming that we all come to love and adore. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that Jim has played against a few Lizardman teams, as he's not taking the default of putting all the strength on the line, which honestly kind of makes me happy, because that means that I have the ability to overwhelm a Saurus or two. So let's see if we can't do that. All right. I was over here thinking to myself, I want no part of that Croxagore. And you know what? I don't have to have a part of that Croxagore. I can just nope right out of having anything to do with him. All right. Things look good, look good, look good. Yeah, sure, let's roll with it. Kind of expecting him to want the ball over here on this side, but fresh team, no kick. I don't know if he really risks the touchback by aiming over there. Hey, look, we got a touchback anyway. Part of me wants to get super aggressive, but let's hang back a little bit. Just a little bit. But Definitely advancing the ball first before I try anything that might end up being a dumb idea. Blocking first with the ogre is a concept that I find myself getting in trouble with. So let's go after a Saurus first. Survey says no result, but Saurus down. Alright, I want the strength advantage here, so we are going to go ahead and use the big guy. Try to clear the line out a little bit. So far, so good. Another Saurus on his tail. And now. 3 for 3, for down at least. Still no armor breaks. And that's not changing here. Let's see, it's not quite as good as we want. Let's get in for one more plus strength. See if we can't pull a third die. There we go. And let's see, hold back. And make sure that we keep at least somewhat of a screen on the ball. Just to make sure no skinks come diving in. As Jim just admitted, first game as lizards. An opponent that doesn't know what they're doing is dangerous because I don't know what they're doing either. Dodge and stunty. That just says, yeah, no, you're not catching me. We've got a semi-solid defense set up here. Lots of guys hanging out in columns and trying to make sure that nobody pushes too far upfield. This one little skink over here on their lonesome. They might be in for a rough time of things, though. Is our Crux gonna blitz? Nope. Oh, we already used our blitz. And the sacrificial skinkness begins. All right, Jim, they're dodgy, but they're not that dodgy. See if we can't get a little bit of a push-up field on this flank. Digging for it, didn't get there. All right. Eeny, meeny, miny. Let's go along with a bad idea here. Fairly simple formula we've got going on here. The idea for anything in this team is mighty blow early and often. It's a little bit dangerous hugging up on the side of the pitch like this, but I think we'll be able to get away with it. If not, whatever. It's an Upstarts game. All right, one last block. Let's make sure he stays nice and close to our ogre for when he gets up, because we're not armor breaking to anybody. And on to the next. Now, I don't know that it would work out all that well. An interesting play that I see that I've kind of opened myself up to here would be a lightning bolt dropping in on this guy's head, followed by a Saurus Blitz in against the thrower. Kind of tricky getting in there with this guy because we did put our tackle guy here, which was intentional. Hoping to make somebody spend some rerolls. And if he does want to come in here and block things up, and that skink's going out of bounds next turn. Unless, of course, the blitz comes here. And then things just get weird. Speaking of things getting weird, we might be going out of bounds here. Yep. Good play. Very good play. And in a relatively friendly location for the lizards. Because there's nothing I can really do to catch this skink right here. And he's got enough bodies over here to at least halfway set up a cage. Still putting this skink out of bounds. Kind of surprised he's just facing up with that skink, but I guess not really trusting his hands there. But let's put this guy down. Diving tackle for the win. And that's why you can't pass up the skill if it becomes available to you. All right. Personal priorities first. Lucky, lucky. You stayed in bounds. Let's see if we can't get a tackle zone on the ball in the process of this. And now I want this guy to blitz in against that Saurus, but not quite yet. We got some other things to take care of back here. Ew. Got greedy. I wanted to use the blitzer for the actual blitz. And the dice bit me. Kind of surprised we're going that way. This guy's got to pull back to defend, right? We'll see who does what. Lesson number 1 of playing lizards. They don't like to throw. Moderate agility combined with the penalty from Stunty does not make for a great passing offense. But with enough strength to screen off, enough speed to just zoom on down the sidelines like this, the Skinks have everything they need to score touchdowns in bunches. A little surprised he didn't follow up there. I'd be looking to push him out of bounds on the next play, personally, but I'm kind of okay with not doing that. And again, you're in good position here. Yep, that's the play. Now, the problem with this is the skinks are strength 2. So if I can tie at least one of these guys up, I still get a 1-die block with a blitz there. Which is why he is occupying as many players as possible here. And free injury. My condolences to Katie. Your coach has sacrificed you for, well, I'm not sure exactly what for. All right, so now we've got a 1-player numerical advantage. Let's see if we can't take a little bit of advantage of it. Got to get this guy out of the way. To be able to do the rest of what we're doing here. Let's see about tying up these 2 players. Okay, don't like that. So this skink being down where they are puts them directly in the way of what we need to be doing. That's too bad. So I do believe we're going to just throw some other blocks first. Push some folk around. And at least get some players in position to try to stop this score. But it does seem pretty inevitable. So, because we're going to have to do a dodge roll if we actually make a run on the ball carrier, we're going to change this up just a little bit. And successfully, no less. All right. Need that Saurus at least tied up. Best we can do with what we have available. And let's see what happens. Now, odds are he can dodge away pretty cleanly. But we do have diving tackle here to make it a little bit more difficult. This Saurus and this skink both have the opportunity to make things a problem. And diving tackle. And failed the reroll. Beautiful. And a KO to boot. I am so glad we rolled that. I think I passed up on a plus agility roll on that actually to take the diving tackle. I know we passed up on one on the team somewhere. All right, now what? I definitely want another player on the ball just in case. Let's go ahead and make it 2. Yeah, just to be certain. Primary ball carrier, we let go. Out of bounds. Pure dumb play on my part. So, we need to get the backup involved. All right. Let's see about putting down a skink. Hey, skink down. Sorry, Amelia. Blame your coach. All right, I think I want to pick up the ball before I try to do any more rolls. And now I'm okay with throwing some blocks. Somehow I have a feeling that that was going to be the result of that roll, but just keep swinging. And in this case, I'm kind of okay with him going down to take that guy down. Granted, it's not my first choice, but I'm kind of okay with it. Now that would be a brave move to take your diving tackle player down in order to stop him from getting overwhelmed and tackled. It's kind of like a weird wrestle move where you get a chance to injure somebody. We do have 3 skinks off the pitch already. So we're kind of moving towards my usual goal of getting the ones capable of carrying the ball off early. And that's unfortunate. That's why you got to kind of grind away with these guys until they can end up with block or wrestle somewhere on the team. All right. We've got a couple more turns. I'm actually going to stop that there. I do not want to risk the turnover. So instead, let's look at throwing some more blocks. That seems like a thing to do. All right, blitzers first. Then the ogre with the advantage. Ogre does nothing. And then, do we risk it on the Saurus? Yeah, why not? We risked it. We were aware of the potential consequences. We pressed the button anyway. The plus side is we do still have him marked, at least. I will say, while Jim has not ended up with a whole lot of nice, juicy block results, I haven't really given him a whole lot of opportunities to. Ah, that hurts eating the reroll there. Ugh. This is just not going well for him. All right. So we're going to do a slightly complicated setup this turn. I want to push the Crocscore away from the ball carrier in the process of getting rid of this skink, theoretically. So in order to do that, let's free up these players. Making sure I'm not missing anybody that's supposed to still be in on the play here. Blitz in here. Making sure we have tackle and mighty blow on this. Ugh. Wish we still had some rerolls. But at least we're getting that prehensile tail out of the fight. So that's going to be a bit of a risky roll. So let's make sure we get at least a player into scoring position in case this goes wrong and we have to score next turn instead of this one. Mark this guy up from over here. Oh, hey. I completely missed that we have another block on this. Doesn't get him down, but it doesn't have to. We'll stay to make this guy at least roll on something. And then Vamonos. Let's get upfield. We're at a reroll, so the loner doesn't actually matter, but we do have block here. So yeah, we'll do that one first, and got the skull. I guess technically that's a 1 in 6, whereas that would be a 1 in 9, I think, to get a skull or double skull on both dice. All right. That was the right move there. Zap him to prevent the score. That's something that's going to get used to, or sorry, going to take some getting used to there, Jim. Agility 1. You're not working with line rats anymore. They punch a little harder, but they're not dodging anywhere. All right, good move. Unmarking dots. That's still going to be a difficult pickup. He can't quite clear to blitz that guy, so yep. Oof. Oh no, my 0-star player point lineman died. Darn. All right, mark it up. Make it basically impossible for me to pick it up at least. And then see if you can snag it yourself. Seems like a plan. No, not going to try to snag it yourself. Interesting. Now, granted, I'm just going to blitz somebody onto it and see if it can somehow end up in Gunther's hands there. Wouldn't have mattered anyway, but this is another reason why I wish I would have activated the ogre in time to actually be awake for this turn. Make that roll a little harder if he wants to do it. All right. I do not want to stand up the blitzer yet because if the ball goes to him, I want it to bounce off. So, let's see. This guy's got the lower score, yeah. And let's see what happens. All right, just put him down. we'll move on to the second half. All right, now the chances of this actually working are slim to none, but we've got a slight shot at a touchdown. I think we should take it. All right, the easy part worked. And then the hard part, not so much. All right. Not the end of the world. Had to try it, though. Had to try it. At this point, I just want to go into halftime with the status quo on the field, not lose any more players to anything random. To that end, I probably shouldn't have stood up the ogre, but oh well. And gave up the push out of bounds again. Hopefully he comes out of that okay. He did not. All right, so advantage is going to go to the Lizards in the second half, as 9 on 9, they come out ahead just by having the sheer speed of the Skinks. And if for some reason something happens to Mongo here, well, I'll be sad. I'm semi-sad. So I'm not liking my odds here. I've got 2 players KO'd. He's got 1 player KO'd. Chances are he's now going to be up a player as we start the second half. And opponent disconnected. What's going on over there, Jim? Need to work on your home networking solutions. I thought we talked about that earlier in the season. Oh, that's super not good. He's disconnected, but so are my chances of winning this game. With 2 players staying KO'd, we are not in a good spot. All right, we'll give him a couple minutes to see if we can get back in. Guess we're back to the hold music and Jeopardy theme song. Oh no, I don't think things were going too badly for the Lizards. They definitely came out on top by not giving up the score in that half and by causing as many casualties as they received. The 2 KOs staying down, especially with one being the tackle and the other being ogre, drastically changes my outlook for the second half. I think the strategy here might be to maybe go for a casualty or 2 while letting them score quickly and hoping that we recover our KOs to be able to make a draw out of it, because otherwise 7 players trying to stop 9, chances are I would end up being on the losing side of that battle, and it would be a 1-0 loss, probably with a turn 16 score. Jim might push to score a little faster than that and just hoping for more star player points, but we'll see. Okay, this is not good. So he appears to have reconnected, and now I can't move my players. Oh, there it is. Okay. There's a part of me that hopes that these would be re-rolled on the wake-ups, but I know that's not the case. All right. Now then. I want pretty much linemen on the line. That seems logical. But don't really want the thrower on there. All right, we'll see what happens. Who knows, maybe we might work our way into a blitz for the win. Now, Jim knows better. He's not going to set all these guys up on the line. Kind of surprised if we keep everybody engaged. It's not a whole lot of reason to. Especially on the linemen. You're going to get them down, right? I mean, I guess with no skills on his side, that's not really much better of a block against the linemen than the blitzers. And we are wary of the possibility of a blitz. Trying to clog off that lane there. And this one. Smart, but I'm not going to be able to get all the way to that guy anyway. Well, nothing exciting. Nothing exciting at all. Very surprised so far that we've continued to survive so many pushes. That makes me happy. That makes me even happier. Alright, luck didn't hold, but reroll spent. That's something. And now that we've spent our reroll, we're going to try to pick up the ball. So, a bit of a new feature for my opponent to learn here. Bonehead, as opposed to Wild Animal on the Rogers that he's used to using when he does use a big man. With Wild Animal, personally, my favorite of the negative talents for the big guys. Ugh. And the hits keep on coming. With Wild Animal, the player can refuse to go anywhere, but they keep their tackle zones active. Here, by failing this, not only does he miss out on the block, but he also loses the tackle zone, so he loses the assist, and the skink can't actually blitz with a second die here, which is originally what he wanted to do. All right, ball is retrieved, but now where are you going to go with it? Let's go skink hunting. Tempting, tempting, tempting. Better. The more we can keep him contained, the better. And now let's see if we can't maybe lock that skink down. Nope. All right, so the unfortunate side of that is Kraxgor blitzes Arnold Panzerman, and skink is off to the races. Unless the dice are friendly, and they are not. So now you mark the thrower with Izzy. Just throw some blocks everywhere else, and take your time scoring. one of my least favorite parts of the user interface of the game. It is so easy to accidentally try to pass the ball while you are moving to the next player in your lineup that you're looking to just, throw a block with. Definitely not wanting to throw the ball to. That whole idea of left click does everything. All right, that would be one of the riskier plays available, but if the ball does get into the Saurus's hands, there's not a lot of stopping it. Again, second accidental attempted pass of the turn. And diving tackle is our friend. But we passed the reroll this time. Let's at least make the cage adjust a little bit. And skink hunting. Don't have the tackle zone on the ball, but we have a tackle zone on the ball. And a tackle zone on the ball is at least a start. Now, what are the odds that we actually get in there? Slim and none. These skinks are in just the absolute worst places for me. All right. Can't catch up, but let's at least keep this skink out of it. Best we can do, move on. Yep, make them spin those rerolls. Especially for no actual result. I'm good with that. Now, granted, he's in a good spot here. He can delay as long as he wants to. There's not a whole lot I can do, but he can also just say, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and score here. It's a slightly dangerous tactic if he's trying to win, but if he's just trying to get star player points, by all means. And no, we are not doing the handoff. Very interesting. I feel like at this point, Jim's just experimenting with the team and seeing what he can and can't do. So this has him fairly solid to be able to catch a score on the next turn, but he would have been able to do it with a handoff this turn. I guess because he had already spent the reroll on the blitz, it wasn't the safest of things to do. But you did give me a juicy block against a skink right here, which I appreciate. And you're considering doing one here, or giving me a diving tackle shot during this turn. And don't even need it. Free injury. Cool. Granted, I don't think that counts for star player points, but it gets somebody off the field. Which is, as they say, something. Alright, chances of this actually working, slim. Chances of me doing it, 100%. Told you it wasn't going to work. But had to try it. So now, do we score immediately, or do the Croc scores take a, or the, not the Croc scores, the SARS take a couple of free swings? Neither one. We positioned to stall first. I was about to say, you've got to come lock this player down. If you don't, I'm dodging out and trying that blitz again. Don't know if he was just telling me that the foul attempt was there if he wanted to, or what he was doing exactly, but I would have been really surprised for a foul at this point in a development game. Not saying it won't happen, but really would have been surprised. Okay. So that's how this is going to go then. Okay. Fair is fair. A little bit of missed opportunity there, I think. I'd probably say to, well, okay, strength 4, never mind. Didn't keep track of which blitzer was where. I was thinking that the right move would have been to push this guy in to be able to get a free block, but not the right call with strength 4 on strength 4, I guess. So that bonehead does hurt, because now I can at least threaten the scorers. But he can move to safety there. Okay. Right move. That requires a lot of dodges. All right, let's get in here at least. Make him think about it a little bit. At this point, I think the right move for me is probably just to disengage. Let Jim have the victory here and walk away healthy. Not entirely sure how much I'm interested in the right move at the moment, but that's my own fault and I know it. Sort of letting myself get riled up over nothing. Not entirely sure what the point of that was, but I think I'm good with it. By basing that player, you don't make the dodge out any harder. In fact, you make it a little easier because I can now blitz him on my way out and not have to deal with the Cockscore tail. I guess if the Saurus comes over here and bases up, that changes it a little bit. That, on the other hand, not sure that it does. All right, time for the gutsy play. Didn't work. All right. Put this one down as a loss and walk away. I'm really confused by the score there. He had enough players to really pin in the last of mine that could have done anything. All right, I would feel a lot better about this if I had a catcher available somewhere. But we can make this work, I think. All right. So, my only chance at a tie is to push hard up this flank. I want to stay on that flank and stay away from the second crocs. Or not crocs, Saurus here. They're all crocodiles to me. All right, we get a reroll and the ball goes straight to the thrower. So, we got that going for us, I guess. Let's get this guy upfield before we do anything else. Got ourselves some star player points. Got a couple players out. Things are happening. I don't know if it's enough things happening, but things are happening. Survey says, got the block. All right, so now at this point, I think we go for it to cover here. Yeah. All right. It's not the greatest of chances at an equalizer here, but we have set ourselves up to have a chance. Gonna be honest, don't understand that one. There's zero reason to put him out into space. Mark this blitzer with that move if you're gonna do anything. Or mark this one. Just leaving him out here, you're not stopping anything. All right, so I need a pass, a catch, and a blitz to pull this off. And where this GFI ends up will determine how I approach this. All right, so he's now tied down. Take him and go for it to get there. All right, so I think that this is going to be our best shot. Yep, best shot we got. Spin the reroll and nope. All right. Well, I'm definitely going to have to go back to the drawing board on that one. I think the try to push so early for the fast score was definitely a mistake. I don't really care in this league about the loss, but long term, I want to make sure that I don't fall victim to the exact same result again in a situation that I care more about. Awfully violent game for less blocks than I've thrown myself in a few games, but the numbers don't lie. Yeah, almost as